Hi everybody and welcome back to the Girly Girl Bookworm. So it feels like forever since I filmed a video. Like this week honestly felt like it happened, but it didn't happen at the same time. Like I felt totally like, thank God it's Friday on Friday, yet I felt like the week didn't happen. Like I don't know where it was, but it was here and then it was gone. But it also felt like each day dragged. So I have no idea. Really have no idea what happened this week. Wednesday, when I normally film videos, I had a really, 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 really killer headache to the point where like I went to bed at like 8:30 to try to get rid of it, and I woke up with the headache still. So like I felt like I was getting sick, and then so like Thursday I was taking like sick medicine because I have like a little scratch in my throat. I don't know if it's coming out in how I sound, but I still have like the little scratch and stuff. I was like, oh my God, I cannot be getting sick again. Like this is not happening. So I think that was probably what like keyed into everything. And then yesterday I got let loose in Target by myself after work, which is never a good idea. Like I don't know about you guys, but like when I go into a Target, like I went in to pick up a prescription and get shampoo, and I walked out with like $112 worth of like clothing, and I'm like, what? This is not what I came in here for. Like, I bought this shirt. I bought Patrick a shirt. I bought me a Christmas sweater and Christmas leggings because that's totally necessary right now. Totally necessary. Long story short, do not let me loose in Target by myself. It is always a bad thing. Okay, but on to this week. I have one book to share with you that I just got in the mail. I have two books that I want to unhaul. And then I have 4 books that I want to wrap you up on. So let's just get started. So the first book that I'm going to share with you is the book that I got for review, and that is Twilight at Blueberry Barrens by Colby. No, that's not it. Colleen Coble. And this book looks like it's like the second book in a series, or maybe even a third, because it says a Sunset Cove novel, and then there's 2 more books on the back. So I don't know if they have anything to do with it, but like look at this spine. Like, this is such a pretty book. I'm so excited to have this. It's about a woman, and she was running her family's, like, blueberry barrens, and one day, like, they kind of, like, stopped producing fruit, so she's got to kind of figure out a new way of life for herself. So she decided she's going to rent out this cottage that's on this field, this, like, area, and she rents it to this guy who's also looking for a nanny for his 2 nieces. So it's like perfect timing. This is great. But I guess he comes with his own like story that like, ooh, like what's gonna happen? Like it sounds like it's kind of creepy. And then like she finds out that like, I guess, well actually with him I think it's like somebody's trying to kill his family and he needs to figure out like who's killing his family. And then she finds out that her uncle, who was in jail, escaped from prison or something. So it sounds right up my alley. So I'm really excited to get to this one. I might read it next just because I feel like I'm so swamped with review books right now because I've been just reading how I feel and I haven't been necessarily in the mood for some of my review books, so I definitely need to catch up. And then last week I left you going, I don't know what to read. I might read this. And I decided to just go with it because I was already thinking about it, so might as well read it. So I picked up 7 Ways We Lie by Riley Redgate. This is not what I was expecting. Like, I feel like I don't know if I even remember reading the synopsis. I just knew, like, 7 Deadly Sins, I have to read this. And it didn't come off as, like, I don't know. When I think of 7 Deadly Sins, I think of things that are, like, really full-on sinful, and I felt like there's stuff happening in this book, but I wouldn't necessarily call it sinful, if that makes sense. Like, there's a character who gets drunk a lot, but, like, is that really, like, I don't know. That there's also a character who, like, is having a relationship with a teacher. Okay, you're warming up a little bit, but there was no, like, it didn't feel very lusty. It didn't feel very greedy. It didn't feel, like, I didn't see a lot. Like, I see the connection. Like, I could put a, like, sticker with each person, but I wouldn't necessarily say that it was deadly of any kind, like, or really, like, sinful. Granted, it is a, like, YA novel. I just felt like I just didn't get out of it what I wanted to get out of it. There is a pansexual in this book. I think that's what they're called. person who is like attracted to either sex, but it doesn't really matter because he's not looking at you for sex, kind of thing. Gender. Like gender, he doesn't care about gender. He just falls in love with people. I guess that makes sense. I don't know. This is my first encounter with that, so I really don't know too much. So I should probably just like shut my mouth before I like put my foot in my mouth. So I'm just gonna stop there. There's an array of characters. You have a perspective from like basically each one, even though you actually have to like put it in your own mind who each person is. I thought it was interesting. This author is from, so she was like graduating college when she wrote this, but then it says she was like studying economics, but she wants to work in a bookstore. So I was like trying to figure out where this was coming from, and I thought it was alright. It was okay. I gave it 3 stars. I'm gonna stop rambling. I feel like this book just makes me ramble. Then I picked up a book that I'm gonna show you in a little bit because I think I'm gonna unhaul this book. And I wasn't feeling it. I got 70 pages in and I was just not feeling it. So I picked up something that I knew I was going to feel. And I picked up Breaking the Silence by Diane Chamberlain. And I really enjoyed this book. I believe I gave this book 4 stars. Yeah, I don't think I gave it 5. This woman is married to this man. She's got a daughter. And her father is about to pass away. And right as he's passing away, he tells her, like, you need to go check in on this woman. She has nobody to take care of her. This is her name. And right before, so then he dies. And then she is about to go visit this woman that her father told her to. And her husband's like, please don't go see her. Like, please don't. And she's like, I don't know why you're being like this. I'm going to go. So she goes and she comes back to her daughter, like shrieking at the bottom of the stairs. And she can't figure out why. And her husband has shot himself. And since then, the daughter has kind of just like stopped talking. Just stopped talking. So part of her therapy, the doctor tells her to go get in contact with the birth father, like the real father, because come to find out, like it's not actually like her husband's child. And then obviously she keeps in contact with this woman, and so you kind of have like the 2 stories going on, like what's going on with the daughter, what's going on with this woman. And obviously they eventually all ties together. And I thought it was good. I forgot what my real complaint was. I felt like I didn't understand the connection between the daughter going silent and this, unless that's how, I don't know. I don't know how to like explain my like problem with it without spoiling things. I also felt like the ending just kind of like, look, this makes everything better now. Bye. Like, and it was kind of like, wait, what? Like, I don't know. I don't know how to talk about this book without spoiling it. I'm sorry. That makes me such a terrible reviewer. But I feel like Diane Chamberlain books, because there's so many twists and turns, I feel like I can't talk about them without spoiling it. So I apologize. But I did really enjoy this one. So that's exciting. And then I picked up Blood Magic by Nora Roberts. I picked this up on Halloween to start because I was like, I didn't know what I wanted to read. And then I was like, well, this has witches, so maybe I should read this. So this is the 3rd and final book in the Cousins O'Dwyer trilogy. And I'm really glad that this trilogy is over. Like, I like Nora Roberts. And I understand why she had this be a trilogy, because she likes to have like a new romance in each one. Which makes sense, because if there's like 3 characters, she has to make sure each one gets a book with romance. Great. That makes sense. But I felt like, especially with this one, because the big pull was this like storyline is the fact that there's this guy from like the past and he's like trying to get them kind of thing. And like obviously they're witches, so they have to like figure out their powers and figure out how to like conquer this evil guy. But like I felt like nothing new progressed from the first book to the last book. Like I felt like it was like, let's battle him, and then let's go eat. Let's battle him, then eat. Let's battle him, and then eat. And it was like, this one character was doing all the cooking, all the cleaning, and it was like one of those things where it was like, okay, I get it. You're cooking, and then you're battling, and then you're cooking to regroup and talk, and then you're going to sleep. Like, it just, I don't know. This series just felt like it was very, like, did not need to be 3 books, unfortunately. But it was okay. I gave it 3 stars still, because I just like the love story aspect, even though like this one kind of just felt like I knew it was coming because she kind of alludes to it in the very first book. So like you know they're going to get together eventually, and that's just how it is. I feel like I have nothing good to say to this week. Why am I, like, talking like a moron? Sorry. And then the last book that I read, I just finished it this morning, was Heaven, Texas by Susan Elizabeth Phillips. This is the second book in the Heaven, Texas series. I don't know if that's actually true. It's the second book. I bought this book back when I very first joined YouTube, so like 2012, and I don't know why I haven't picked it up yet. I think I was like intimidated by the font, even though the font's actually not as bad as I like pictured it when I like opened it. Like I was expecting it to be like really babyish, because I feel like I remember picking it up once, like I'm gonna read this. I was like, this font's tiny, and like I stopped, which I don't know why, but I like picked it up. I was like, this font's not so bad, and it's only 360 pages. I could do this. And this book was kind of like hard to swallow. I started it Wednesday. I read like 100 pages, and then I read 100 pages on Thursday, and then I didn't read yesterday because I wasn't really home to read it, and then I tried to like devour it today. Like there was no like pull to keep reading. Like Thursday I could have kept reading, but I like picked it up and I was like, no, I don't want to read you. And I like put it back down. Like there was no pull to keep reading. I don't know if it would have made a difference if I read the first book. I have a feeling they're more companion books than series related books. It's about this like ex NFL player, and he has signed on to be in this movie because like he can't play football anymore because he got seriously injured, and he like isn't showing up to the movie. So they send this girl who's trying to basically change her life around to pick this guy up and make sure he gets to the set. And obviously it's kind of like their love story and like how do they come together. And this book was written in 1995, so I don't know if that's why I was having issues with it, because it comes off really dated. I feel like there was parts where like I was cringing at the love stories, because there's kind of two love stories in this book, and I felt like there was times where I was just like cringing, like, and of course they had like so many cliches of like the big tough NFL player who comes off really mean, but he really has this soft side, and this really homely girl, like as she repeats a couple times that she is a very homely girl, and I'm like, stop, just stop. Like there's just like tropes and things like that in here that I didn't necessarily like, so I gave it 3 stars. I feel like I was able to at least get through it, and it wasn't like, oh my god, I hate this, so that's why I didn't give it a 2 star, and I didn't desperately hate it to the point where it needed to be 1, so I just gave it a 3. And then my 2 books that I'm planning on unhauling is Incarceron by Catherine Fisher. I got to page 78, and I just felt like I was like dragging through this. Like I did not understand the world. I felt like I was like trying to skim read it. I remember falling asleep while I was reading this. Like I just don't feel like this is my type of book. Like I really don't get when worlds don't try to explain themselves, because then I'm like totally lost. Like don't just shoot me in this world and try to expect me to understand what the heck is going on. So, and there's a dual perspective, and I have a feeling that one of the perspectives is really, like, if you read, like, the synopsis, you realize that one of the perspectives is really, like, intermingled with the other one, but you don't know that yet, and it was just, like, bothering me, and I'm like, is this person? Like, I don't get it. And I want to be more honest with myself when it comes to reading. Like, if I'm really genuinely not liking it, why am I going to bother pushing myself through things? So, I am going to unhaul this book. And then my other book that I'm going to unhaul is End of Days by Susan E. And this was a really tough decision for me because I've already read the first 2 books in the series. I didn't really like the first 2 books in the series, and I know I didn't like the first 2 books in the series. I made the mistake of buying all 3 at the same time. And every time I look at this book, I have that, like, feeling where I'm like, I don't want to read that. And I'm like, if I'm going to look at that every time and say, oh, I don't want to read that, like, when am I ever going to pick this up? Why am I going to force myself to read a book that in the back of my head I already know that I want to unhaul the first 2 books? Not worth it to me. It really is not worth it to me. I can't even tell you what happened in the first 2 books other than, like, it was nasty and I did not like reading it. So I'm not going to force myself into this book. I just can't. It gives me, like, anxiety, like, looking at it on my shelf, knowing that I might have to read it someday. And that's just not worth it. It is just not worth it. So that's my video for you. I'm sorry this video is so long. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys really soon. Bye, everybody. Oh, that's a way to have an exit.